Hi there. I'm Heather Kate, spiritual coach for the creative soul, and I help women to heal from devastating relationships. They're usually with narcissists. And my viewpoint on narcissism is a little bit different than a lot of people's. I completely agree that they're not going to change. It is only a matter of their free will. I believe that the divine, whether no matter what you call the divine, I believe that the divine is capable of healing them, but that the person is highly unlikely to ever change. Also, rather than classifying people in all the multiple different groups, malignant or covert, all of these different things, I actually I think their playbook is the same no matter where you are in the world, and no matter how dangerous they are. And so that's one of the characteristics that I use. I think that's important, is what level of physical danger are you in, what level of spiritual danger are you in, and all the rest of it is really more of a game to know about rather than take action with. So I think it's really important to acknowledge and take action. The title of my presentation today is Narcissism is a Spiritual War. So I see it as not just a psychological problem, because if there's no cure, according to the psychological standards, then you have to look at it from a different perspective. And I believe that there are basically two different categories of narcissists. One comes into this world with evil intent, and they are very dark and just truly evil. They may be cute, they may be very attractive, but they are there they come into this world with the purpose of doing harm. The other type is incredibly messed up, and they're not twisted, they're not tangled, they're not braided. They are like a rat's nest. If you're a woman and you have long hair, and if you've ever just slept funny on it, or anybody, with long hair, you'll understand, what I mean by a rat's nest. But it's just a complete, absolute disastrous mess. Those people are doing evil, and they are being run by evil, just like the other ones. But I think that at some point in their initial stages of being, and I don't even mean just being, here on Earth, as a person, but before that even, or on a different plane in a sense, I think there are people who get spiritually very damaged and then controlled and run by evil. I'm sure this is sounding very odd to a lot of people, but I really want people to understand that the only way you can deal with narcissism is to effectively consider it a spiritual problem. So you need to spiritually protect yourself, anybody that you are in charge of, and anybody that you are charged with taking care of. So if that's your children, your elderly parents, anybody, this can be difficult if this is your partner, if this is somebody that you work with, heaven forbid it's your boss. But there are many parents who are narcissists. I grew up with a narcissistic parent. And it wasn't until comparatively recently that I realized what was going on. But in retrospect, my heart and my being understood, and I was grieved by it, but I didn't know what to do. Therapy didn't nail it on the head. Nobody said, I kept saying there's something wrong, and everybody was like, oh yeah, there's something wrong. But nobody said, oh, your parent is a narcissist, ever. The one thing that a therapist said to me that was helpful, in recent times, that helped to put some of the pieces together was, that parent is using triangulation against you and your sisters. And we were like, what? It was like the record screeching to a halt, stomp on the brakes. What is that? And it just blew my mind. But that's a typical narcissistic pattern tool. And so I really want to get the word out into the world that narcissism isn't just, you know, wearing your clothes a certain way and having your hair perfect, or, you know, somebody who's a little, you know, somebody who's arrogant, but they're arrogant because they're insecure. Well, narcissists are extremely insecure, but all of that stuff belies all of these, you know, all of these incredible problems underneath. So they have this beautiful facade, usually, you know, usually they use it and they create it. It's part of what they do, but it's also something that's really part of a bigger problem. So I'm going to sort of dive into that, and it's a little bit unpopular in a sense. I see it as a battle between good and evil. I feel that the world has almost always been in a battle between good and evil, but things are really ramping up now. And the last statistic I heard was that 10% of people are narcissists. I have not cross-checked that. That's possible. That's a lot of people. And no matter what culture you're in, no matter, you know, all around the world, regardless of culture, gender, social status, economic status, you know, none of that matters. They are everywhere. The only thing you need to know is the pattern that goes with it. And you can find that information on my website, peacockandpaisley.com. I also have a course there. So if you are recovering from narcissistic abuse, you should definitely check out the course. It is non-traditional, it is feminine, it's non-linear. So it's, you know, it's a toolbox. It's basically a huge toolbox with explanations of how to use these things to help yourself in a way that is gentle and healing, so that you don't re-traumatize yourself in the process of trying to get better. And there are over 100 units or tools, and you go into the course and you click on the symptoms that you're having, you know, feeling angry, feeling, you know, exhausted, not being able to sleep, you know, dealing with a lot of like really intense grief. And there's a whole wide variety of symptoms, everything that you experience when you've been through an abusive relationship. And then you just pick the thing that you're feeling at that moment, and it will pop up. Usually about 5 different tools, and they range from herbs to nutrition to essential oils to crystals. Crystals are an amazing, they're almost like a magic wand. They're a great tool. Because, and these are a lot, you know, most of these things are based around what can you do for yourself without talking about it. Because chances are either you have already talked your friends to death about it and they're just like, you know, they care about you, but they just can't stand to talk about it anymore. Or you've been to therapy, which really hasn't helped you enough. Therapy can be very helpful, but it doesn't understand, and is not allowed to address the spiritual side of things. So I take a holistic metaphysical approach. The reason why I do this is because we are whole beings. We're not a garbage bag. We're not a piece, you know, a plastic bag that's had garbage dumped into it, and you can't just turn it upside down and shake it out and rinse it or whatever. You have to actually heal multiple systems, your chakras, your hormones, your organs, your physical organs, your brain, all of these things, and they all work together to provide you with a safe space as you're doing this. You know, as you heal one bit of you, it supports the healing of the other parts of you. So your body, your spirit, and your mind actually are able to heal themselves if you take away the toxins, which first of all are the narcissists, and add in the nourishment that each system needs. So hopping back to what the spiritual battle, I believe that essentially there's an evil team and a good team, and the evil team is here to wreak havoc and destroy, and the good team is here to help and bless and uplift. So people can essentially be possessed by demons of narcissism, and it's not just one, it's not just two. There's like whole systems, and this dovetails with my theory of why people are around the world that have never met, they have not been to Narcissist University, they do not have a narcissist playbook, they don't have a narcissism for dummies, but they all follow the same patterns, and the reason for that is because it's spiritual. There is like a guiding principle for evil as just in a similar way to, God or the divine, but it's, and there are, lots of, anti-angels, the opposite of angels. There are angels that do bad, and then there are helpers that pop in and actually control people. So if you are in a narcissistic relationship, or you've gotten out of one and your head is spinning, you're spinning, you're trying to figure out what has gone on, what is going on, and where to put your feet down so you can get on solid ground, realize A, it's not your fault. B, they probably picked you because you're a good person, because you're kind, because you're nice, because you're an empath. You don't have to be an empath to be picked by a narcissist, but believe me, the juicier your energy, the more they want you, because they're just like demons. They're just like vampires. They will suck the blood out of you. And what they feed off of isn't blood, but it's spiritual blood. It's life force, joy, energy. And then when they've sucked enough of that out of you, you would think that they would want you to continue being happy so they could get that, but they are just hell-bent on making you miserable to your core. So they actually will do things on purpose to make you miserable, totally intentionally. Now, as a nice person, you probably try to give people the benefit of the doubt and just say, okay, that seemed weird, but I really care about this person, and I am here to, support them and help them and be nice and kind and loving in all the ways that I can be. And if you, in retrospect, after you've gotten out of a narcissistic relationship, you may look back in your life and say to yourself, why was I vulnerable to this? So what if that person, thought that they wanted to suck my blood? Why did I fall for their manipulations, their stories, their tales? And looking back on things, you realize is just a lot of lies, incredibly complicated lies. But that's one of the ways you can know that you're with a narcissist. If they blame you for doing something that you would never do, that you have never done, at least not to them, and that's a typical aspect in a partner relationship with a narcissist is that they will blame you for cheating, and they want you to turn yourself inside out to prove that you haven't, or really that's what they want. They because they feed off of that. They feed off your misery. So they start by feeding off your joy, and they may feel really happy and in love in the beginning, but then they will start to degrade you. And who does that? Evil people do that. Because although regular people may have some negative tendencies, or they may do something negative sometimes in their lives, they're not out to get somebody in a way that absolutely destroys that other person's spirit. Because that is the ultimate goal of, let's just say, narcissism you or the narcissism team. They want to destroy your spirit. They want to destroy they want to prevent you from doing the good that you came here into this world to do. Another interesting aspect to this is that it can track from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, as in reincarnation. So if you know somebody in this lifetime who is a narcissist and you have either had a brush with them or you've had a head-on car wreck with them, God forbid, there's a really deep chance that you already know each other. And that may have, you may feel that. You may feel a deep connection to them that's not entirely explained by this current relationship that you've had in this lifetime. But if you get the chance to do some past life regression, you may find that you know each other from multiple lifetimes. And you may be trying to help them heal. I understand that. I did that too. But one of the things that you can do is say, is realize that we're basically wrapping up the options to do that, as a world. The trains have left the station and they're going in different directions. You cannot straddle both. You can't stand on the roof of both trains and say, okay, I'm hoping to stay connected to you. You got to let them go. They always have the choice to change and to become a good person, but you can't make them. You actually can't help them if they're a narcissist, which is just devastating and difficult. But knowing that is very helpful so that you're not wasting your time and your heart, your energy, your money, your life force trying to help people that won't become good. So you can love them from afar in a sort of distant, removed way, but I hope for your sake that if you are in a relationship with someone like that, that you are able to realize that your sacrifice will be for naught, and really what you have to do is protect yourself and take care of yourself. Because if you're sacrificing to help the other person, it is literally hurting you. It's like handing them a knife to stab you with. So don't hand them the knife. Walk away. If you need help getting out, go to my YouTube channel. Just when you get to YouTube, just search for, or go to my website, peacockandpaisley.com, and you can find my YouTube link there. But I have a specific video. It's about 45 minutes long. It's very detailed, about gaslighting, what it is, and how to win against it. And one of the most important things, the most important thing to start with is don't show change to the narcissist, because they do not want to let go of you. They, they will kill you rather than let you leave. And I mean that very literally for many people, many narcissists. But the typical time for a woman to be murdered by her partner is when she goes to leave. So the best thing you can do is pretend everything is, fine, that you're going along with it like usual. But get all of your ducks in a row if you have that opportunity. And if you don't have that opportunity, you just freaking leave when you can. When the door opens and you can get out and you can leave, because your body does matter. But I want to make sure that you know that you can heal your emotions, your thoughts, your spirit, your energy. You can get your life force back, because you always have a connection with the divine. Your connection to the divine is open. And that is what really feeds your spirit. Our bodies and our spirits work together to create that energy that we have, that keeps us going, that keeps us buoyant, that makes us happy, and that enables us to spread that and share that with others. So the key is to value yourself as a critically important child of God, and know that you are valuable, worthy, and worthwhile, and that all of the work that it takes and all of the pain that's involved in letting go of a narcissist is absolutely worth it, because you won't exist if you don't, and what you're here to do is really important. So I hope that if you have any questions about this, you'll get in touch with me personally, DM me, contact me, use the contact form on my website. But this is my mission. This is what I'm here for. I really, I love working with my clients. And I'm always so glad when people take the course and start to discover the ways that they are able to heal themselves. Because I'm not here to snag you into a relationship of long-term coaching or therapy. I do coaching. I do like a year-long package, but my whole point is to teach you how to heal yourself, because it's not like life isn't going to throw you some more curveballs at some point in time. But you can get up out of that ditch. If you've been driving a shitbox car and it goes into the ditch, it's okay. You can actually get that car up out of the ditch and transform it into a Lamborghini and like drive off down the road and go, see ya. Or maybe not. Maybe not see them. But really, life is so different and so much better when you do that. You can find that course in my program on my website, www.peacockandpaisley.com. So Peacock, like the bird with the beautiful feathers and tail, and Paisley, like the Indian design, which actually is a blessing, by the way. It's a blessing and a protection. Women used to do it. They would dip their, maybe they still do it, I don't know, dip the palm of their hand, see that shape right there, into, I've heard milk, I would assume water or something similar would work, and then put it on the doorpost, and then you put your little dots around it with your finger, and that's your blessing. So if you have any questions or you want to know more, I do have a group, but you can also find here in Facebook, but you can also find me on Anchor FM with a podcast. You can find me on Instagram, and through my website. And I look forward to talking with you. My other offer that I want to let people know about is that I also build gorgeous, powerful websites that are beautiful and extremely functional, so that anybody who comes to visit your website really feels and understands and knows who and what you are and what you're about. And so that they are drawn through a path that works for all sorts of different types of buyers, because that's what you want it to do. You want it to make money for you, usually, and convert them so that they'll buy and they'll purchase, what you're selling, whether it's a service or a course or a product. But all of those are things that I work with. So that website is honeybeebuzz.marketing. There's no .com, it's .marketing. So it's honeybeebuzz.marketing. So I just want to follow up with, although we are in a massive spiritual war, it is possible to come out okay. And the key to doing that is to understanding what you're doing, understanding what you're up against, and honoring yourself, loving yourself, but honoring yourself and treating yourself really, really well. Sometimes that means saying no. And that is one of the best ways you can find out if somebody's a narcissist in a casual relationship. You just don't ask them a bunch of questions. Just wait until there's a situation and they ask something of you, and just say no. See how they react. Because by the time they ask you for something, they are probably they're probably assuming, because they've been grooming you. It's called love bombing in the narcissistic abuse world. They're making you feel like you're up on a golden pedestal and that you're the best ever. And, they may actually feel like they're really in love with you, and they may be really in love with you, and you probably are falling for them, if not already in love with them. But they're grooming you, just like a pedophile grooms a child. And when it gets to the point where they ask something of you, just say no. And be prepared to walk away from any relationship where a person does not handle the no well. Just realize that the things that you can lose are body parts, for real. And, and it can take years, even if you know what you're doing. Even if you're a skilled healer, it can take years to recover from a narcissistic, abusive relationship. So always be happy and willing to say no, because anybody who actually loves you and cares about you, although they may be taken aback and surprised, will probably be like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Why? You know, and you don't have to give them an explanation, because as this phrase goes, you know, no is a complete sentence. But see how they honor, if they honor your boundaries. And if you are honoring yourself well enough, you will honor your boundaries too. So, namaste. Thanks for watching this video, and I look forward to being in touch with you. So look forward to you contacting me. Take care. Peace.